This is Denny Lugs. I am back again. I have a couple minutes to do another one of these jams. I'm gonna bang it out. I got fucking kids. You know the deal. 6 point scale. S is for the creme de la creme. F is for the faccia de bruta de la butanas. So fucking simple enough, right? Resident Evil, second favorite goddamn video game franchise, right behind Final Fantasy. Yes, I'm a basic bitch. I don't give a shit. I got kids. Anyway, I was here for this whole series. Not really need to go that in depth here with the years and the releases and when I played and stuff like that, because I pretty much for the most part was here ground level playing everything as they came out. I want to say, except for Code Veronica, which I never played in the day, and I've played a bit here and there over the years, and I honestly never finished it. So I have just a kind of a basic roundabout opinion about from what I know about it. So please forgive me there. So let's fucking do it. Resident Evil, the original, PS1, the Godfather of survival horror, the made B horror movie made into a video game, the cheesy dialogue, the Jill sandwich, the master of unlocking, the granddaddy of the survival horror, taking the idea of like a adventure game, like a point and click adventure game mixed with horror, third person, new 3D era of PS1, fixed camera, pre-rendered backgrounds. I love PS1 style of pre-rendered backgrounds, Final Fantasy games, Parasite Eve, Resident Evil original trilogy. I love that style. I love that shit. It's why can't we make games like that, like as like indie games? But they're kind of coming back around. Maybe not the pre-rendered backgrounds, but the indie games doing survival horror, old school survival horror style. It's in vogue now. It is a thing. We're finally like reaching that PS1 level of nostalgia now that we're past like Nintendo and Super Nintendo indie nostalgia. We're hitting that PS1 era, and I'm loving it. I'm here for it, as the fucking kids say. But yo, Resident Evil, I fucking love this game. I think I played it originally on like a burnt copy on a PS1 when I had like the ghetto bootleg play imports and fucking bootleg shit you used to put in your PS1 that you bought in fucking Chinatown if you're from New York City. Bam. Love it. It is like an FF7 where it's like it's like an FF7 for me. Final Fantasy 7, Resident Evil, the first one, Metal Gear Solid, the first one. You pop it in that time, in that day, in the late 90s, when you're playing fucking Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, and then you pop those motherfuckers in, and you see some new shit, you see some crazy shit, and you're like, oh, video games. They do this now. I will say that because in like I did with the FF ranking, looking at it now, 2022, even looking at it by fucking 99, right here, like the way how we refined from the first to second to third, it holds up. Is it? You could play it. You could play it and have fun. A little jank, a little rough around the edges, but like, so it doesn't get the full fucking praise Allah. It gets the fucking right here. Right here. It's a fucking amazing game. It's an important game. The Grandpappy. Now we take this with the two different characters, with the slight, maybe you save the other character, whatever, whatever. Now you have the two different characters, two different campaigns, and we're changing up a little bit more. We're giving you more replay value than the first one. Yes, this had different modes and different like arrange mode, stuff like that, so extra shit. Now even more features, even more different, and like just smoother looking, smoother playing, iconic shit. The fucking goddamn police station as opposed to the mansion. I mean, these first two games, Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, like just like iconic locations, iconic settings. Like these, like you don't get a lot of those anymore in games that resonate for so long. Just A game that comes out in 2022, ask me in 2042 if we're talking about a location is iconic. Maybe, maybe, but it's not like this. It's not like the mansion. It's not like the police station. So, I don't know what I could say about Resident Evil 2 that hasn't been fucking said. Like, this is this is the survival horror game. This is the game. Like, you can have your fucking Silent Hill 2s, which is unfair. It's on a PS2. People say that's the greatest horror game of all time. I like Silent Hill 2. It's a great game. For me, for my money, Resident Evil 2. I could just sit down and play it for days, like just banging out the campaigns. You could play it so many different ways. Like, you could play it like 4 different ways and then another 4 ways with the 2 characters and the 2 different ways you could play it in the arrange mode. Like, you could beat this game 8 different ways. And it's fun every time. So, this is a banger. And the extra modes too. Everybody knows Resident Evil 2. I don't gotta wash its balls anymore. Any more so that I'm washing it. Giving it a good wash. Resident Evil 3. Love Resident Evil 3. Love Resident Evil 3. It's more of the same. It's more pre-rendered, fixed camera, survival horror. You feel like you have a little bit less wiggle room, where you had freedom to explore more so in these games and figure out your way. I mean, once you know what to do in these games, it's a straight line. It's a beeline. But the fun is figuring out your route. Like, routing these games in your mind when you know where everything is fun. And it makes it even more fun with the arrange mode. Like, arrange modes, because it's the unknown of where shit is, right? But then you learn that too. This is kind of a straight line. There's not really many options. There's one way to do it, and you just do it. It's still fun. It's still more of this style here, The question is, where do I stick it? Where does it go? I love it. For me, this is cream. This is preem supreme still. The different, the little choices you can make too is a little gimmick. Granted, this wasn't supposed to be Resident Evil 3. This wasn't supposed to be... Actually, there was supposed to be a different Resident Evil 2. That's a whole nother story, 1.5. I don't even need to get into that shit if you know about it already. But this wasn't even supposed to... This was supposed to be a side jam. And it got... Sony, said, hey, you owe us 3 fucking games. So that side jam, that's Resident Evil 3 now. That's it. They dropped the hammer on that. But this is, to me, this trilogy right here, classic. These are 3 of my favorite games of all time. Just play all 3 back to back to back. Just have a great weekend. Pop a cold one with your boy in the dark and eat a Jill sandwich. Have yourself a goddamn blast. The replay value of these 3, they're not long games, especially when you know what to do. But they're fun. The resource management, doing your damnness not to use any health items or bullets, saving that shit. Thinking about your routes, surviving the horror. I'm a fucking corn. I don't care, man. These are my jams, straight up. But 2 is a cut above, just for the replay and the options and the amount of times you can do it, and just the iconicness of the whole deal. I know I'm being pretty vague. I don't have time. All right, I got kids. Anyway, Code Veronica. I never played this game in the day. I went back and played a good chunk of it. I don't really care for it, to be honest with you. So I really can't I really can't just shit on it, and I really can't put it that high. So out of respect, I know there's a good game in there. I've seen the whole game pretty much in footage. I mean, we live in the future, right? I can do a clickety clack clack and fucking I can see the whole game in 2 seconds. I just it doesn't really do it for me. It's not really my tempo, man. I don't know. I just feel like it gets to a point where it's too open. Like, the Resident Evil games are good with, they give you a couple options of where to go. So then you keep in your mind, I need to check here, here, and here. And now I found a thing to go there. You don't want to overload the player in a game like this. I feel like I got to a point in this game where, okay, I can go like 5 different directions, and then like you can go check an entire area and spend like an hour there, and then realize that I wasn't supposed to be going that way at all. I gotta go over here. Granted, you can say that with some of these games, but I feel like they're designed a little bit more tighter so that you have that little exploration, but you don't get in the fucking weeds. You know, I feel like you do with this game. But out of respect, I didn't finish it. I never finished it, so it can get a solid B out of respect. You know, don't ever say I was disrespectful. Here's the motherfucker that I have to talk about, Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is one of the biggest, most beloved, and important games of all time. For the sixth gen of games, basically another. If Resident Evil 1 was the granddaddy of survival horror, this is the granddaddy of the fucking over the shoulder third person shooter. It didn't perfect the style, but it really like made it the popular thing to do. This game was huge, and the style was huge. It's still beloved to this day. Many, many, many fans of this series say it's the best in the series. Can I make an argument for it being the best in the series? Probably. Do I think it's the best in the series? I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. For Resident Evil, for the feel of Resident Evil, I think until we get to where we are now in the series, this style, these three, fixed camera, this style, right? That's Resident Evil, the survival horror style. This is still, 4 is still horror. It's a little cheesier. And I can't wait for the remake to kind of reel that shit in. Take that awesome setting of the village. Take the awesome idea of the Los Ganados, like the parasites that turn you into these zombies, almost like being puppeted by these parasites. It's creepy. It's fucked up. You don't really get that feel comparatively. Watch the trailer for the remake. Compare that to playing this game. My point is, this remake is going to make Resident Evil 4 the game that everybody says it is in terms of the quality. Because I think, like, it's a little... And it's in that era. We're starting to get that, like, 7th gen... Even though this is 6th gen, but, like, that 7th gen era of everything's washed out gray or sepia tone shit, brown and gray shit. And this game is like the fucking the progenitor of that shit. I mean, this is a great game. I like this game. It is one of the best games of all time. I think it's just a tad overrated in just how great it is and how like great it is as a Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 7 is more a Resident Evil survival horror game than 4. 4 is fun. I mean, the village is cool and the castle's cool. The whole island area people don't like. I get it. It never bothered me that much. But there's some set pieces, parts of this game. It starts getting a little off the rails. You're on the back of a truck and the shooting gallery parts of it. We're starting to get into that 4, 5, 6 where you see how it goes more off the rails with the action from 4 to 5 to 6. I mean, you have 6. I mean, come on, right? It begins here, but this is a kind of a sweet spot between the horror and the action. I wish it was more horror. I wish it was more survival horror. There's no fear of item or health or ammo management when enemies drop the shit. And I know they drop shit in Village, but it's not the same degree. I mean, you're just getting fed. So for me, put the pitchforks away. This is one of the best games of all time, but for me to be as objective as I can do, I don't think it's the high quality mark seal like representation of the series. and with the story and the plot of just the whole game is just, they set up a dumb trap for Leon that he gets by and then leaves a note, or you read a note of what they're gonna do before it. I know it's just like it's like a fourth wall break almost. It's not meant to be taken seriously. I guess it's kind of goofy. It's just a little goofy. These are goofy in like B movie 80s fucking 90s cheese. That's like fun to me. There's a camp and a I don't know. It just hits for me differently, right? This is a different kind of cheese. And honestly, how I really feel, it's probably here, but the respect props it up. I mean, the respect and just the objective, like, yes, all that stuff said that I knock it for, this is a quality video game, one of the best of all time. So, fuck me, right? This, on the other hand, no, I'm sorry. This, on the other hand, this is the creme de la creme. This is the cream. This is the frothy fucking cream right here. This is the cannoli cream of the fucking series, Everything else is the crunchy shell. This is the fucking cream. This is the best game in the series. Probably. This is the best representation of Resident Evil. The look, the feel, the atmosphere, the survival horror, the fixed camera. You don't know what's around the corner. The scares. Everything. This is the game. Resident Evil, the remake in 02, originally on the GameCube, came out on everything. It's on fucking everything right now. You could probably play it on a heart monitor. Look, I need water to talk about this game. I don't care. I'm thirsty. I got kids. Listen. Yeah, all of that. I mean, this is the best remake of all time. Tell me I'm wrong. In terms of taking a game and what it wanted to do, and reimagining it, remaking it, making that better, taking what the original game did times 10 in every way, and like no changes, no nothing. I mean, even adding the Lisa Trevor stuff, like everything works. Like taking everything that it did, adding more. Usually when you get remakes, stuff is added, stuff's taken away, stuff's added you don't like, shit's taken away that you like and you're mad about it. There's none of that here. There's nothing taken away, and everything that's added is great. It's a perfect remake. It's perfect. I'll say it. It's fucking perfect. All right? Fuck you if you think otherwise. This came out after it, and this Zero looks like Resident Evil remake, looks and smells and acts like Resident Evil remake, but it's not. It's okay. It's okay. Here's the two things that are against it. A okay idea with dropping your items on the floor between two characters to pick up and no boxes, but just give me the fucking inventory boxes, all right? It just works. It's part of the cool thing about Resident Evil. You can tuck your shit away and you can pop it out when in the save rooms. It's the loop is go out there, do your thing, get back to the save room, get back to your shit, get back to take a breather, get out of the horror, and then go arm yourself up and go back in. That's the loop. When you could just leave your shit around all Willis Nillis, we're starting to break down here, guys. Shit's breaking down. And as much as it plays still like this Resident Evil remake in many ways, and it looks like the Resident Evil remake in many ways, the environments, they are a little less exploratory. Yes, there is a mansion-like area that is. It just the areas don't seem to hit as well for me. And the story. I know Resident Evil's not a fucking story-heavy game, but I hate making prequels and shoehorning shit in and making it stupid and not make sense. I mean, look at Star Wars. Star Wars was fucked originally from the prequels. Look at it. I mean, it's even worse shape now, but that's a different video. Like, so when you meet Rebecca Chambers in the first one, and it's not like, oh, by the way, I fought the fucking this giant leech monster thing that's the cause of all of this. Why? Why couldn't a prequel be the B team that went to the mansion and got fucked? You know? I mean, you could have been a character that was like on that team, like the one that came out and they found his fucking arm where they pulled the fucking gun up and his arm you could have survived the whole night and then got fucking murderized by the dogs outside. I mean, that could have been not the whole night because they went there before that, but you could have survived some shit and then came out, right? And then it would have been funny. It would have fit the camp shit. Right as the team's rolling up, then you get murderized. Done. Prequel. What is all this shit? I hate shoehorning shit in. It's too much. It's Rogue One dumb shit. Again, I hate making the Star Wars, but hey, it's a good game. It's a solid game. It's a quality game. It's. I played it. I still liked it. It's okay. We're moving on. We're in the weeds now, ladies and gentlemen. I will admit I never finished this fucking game. Just like Code Veronica, I never finished this game. It's not my style. It's fine. It's just fine. We're getting a little bit beyond Resident Evil at this point. And this shit is far beyond fucking Resident Evil. I still won't even put it in the Face Brute all the way. It's a playable action game. So I mean, 5, I've probably beaten like half this game. It's just kind of boring. It's when you want to play Resident Evil and you want that like adventure style, finding items, Metroid style, get an item, progress to the next area and explore with some horror around the like lurking around the corners, the element of surprise. When you're just kind of like just straight running and gunning. I mean, there's some cool set pieces, punching boulders and shit, right? I mean, there's cool shit in it, but it's just, and then now take that and times 10 here. And I never finished this game because I beat the Leon section and then we get to fucking the Chris section and I had the character that follows along with you like just kind of just stuck on a piece of the, I'm trying to walk and he's just stuck on a piece of the like the landscape, just like walking in place. And I was like, why am I disrespecting myself playing this game? I don't want to play this game. I've tried to go back here and there, fuck around with it. It works. It's fine. It's not Resident Evil. It doesn't belong. Like, it's not even this horrible. It just doesn't even belong next to any of these games because of just this silly nonsense they put out. I won't even put it next to 5. Resident Evil 7. They came in. I mean, this with all the shitty side games too, or by 6, you know, this franchise was all but fucking dead, like knocking on fucking death's door. 7 comes in, and is fucking good. It's awesome. I would fucking just the atmosphere and the feeling of everything, like the feeling of that first like few areas of this game, feeling like Resident Evil again and being in his house and getting things and exploring and doing it in the first person. I think that was dope. I think it was actually we're scary again. The only thing is I gotta just kind of slide it right here. As much as I like it, I have to just objectively say, because of just like the whole third act of this game on the boat, like playing a flashback and then playing the whole boat, it's boring. It drags the whole game down, and then you end just like in a cave, and like the main actual boss battle of this game is just like 2 big mold enemies that you can probably just walk past, and then you kind of have like an automated boss battle for the end. Like, you really can't lose. You have to fuck up really bad to lose. Like, just if you don't shoot the monster, you lose, you know? But otherwise, like if the whole thing clicked, I mean, it could be probably fucking the creme de la creme. And the monsters are all kind of the same looking. I get the story they were telling with, you know, paring it down a little. It's not a million off the wall fucking monsters. There are different versions of the molded, so I get it. But it is just what it is. It was the good starting point for bringing this franchise back. I respect it for that. I like it for that. I think it's a great game. Resident Evil 2 Remake, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, I'm not done. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Tippy top of the cock, and now you're looking at it. Much like Final Fantasy, I guess there's something to me in the rule of threes. This is it. This of the classic style, this of the kind of bridging in between of like remaking the classic style in a better look, better atmosphere, and then now here's new style. Here's new style Resident Evil. Where now we're third person, we're over the shoulder, but we're really doing it still survival horror style. In the adventure style, getting the items, opening up the next area, having big areas for you to explore and make your way and figure your shit out. That's why I think 4 kind of loses its luster over the years, because we come here, Resident Evil 2, and hopefully now with the 4 remake, they've perfected third person survival horror now. They've perfected it. This is perfection. Yes, I'm a little upset they took out some of the differences between the two. They're a little bit less different between the two campaigns now, but they change it in other ways that are good. So it's a little bit give and take, but they killed it with this fucking remake. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I think it's one of the best, just straight up games of all time. And it's one of the best with these 3 different styles here, representations of Resident Evil, and it absolutely belongs right there. I will take nothing else than that. Absolutely. Now, this was probably just supposed to be some fucking DLC, and they made it a whole game. So here it is now. It plays much just like 2. It's a little bit scaled down. Like the bodies don't hang around. They kind of like, it's a little skimped out in ways. It's a little bit shorter, but it has a lot of replay value. You can play it in all these different difficulties, and you can unlock shit. It's more of just like a fun, it's a little bit more arcadey, it's a little bit more fast paced. You could dodge and knock enemies out of your way. And I think while the quality in the gameplay is there, because as a remake, it just belongs down here. It was disappointing. I had fun. Much like Resident Evil 2 Remake, I platinumed this fucking shit. Did everything you could do. Platinumed the shit out of it. So it's fun for you could beat it in a couple hours. But you beat it, you unlock shit, you beat it again on a harder difficulty. Now you have better weapons and you beat it even better. So like maybe it takes 6 hours, and it takes 4 hours, and it takes 2 hours, and then if you really hustle, you can bang it out in an hour. It's fun still. Is a good time to be had here. I love Jill, but they took so much out of this game. Like I was really looking forward to them remaking a lot of areas or parts of 3, parts of Raccoon City, things from 3 that they didn't really do. Where I feel like 2, like took everything you saw from the original Resident Evil 2 and really remade it over. And remade it over and added to the stuff and then this just kind of like took whole sections out and just did some other thing and like, yeah, let's just get through it, I still recommend it, like the only game I don't recommend you playing is fucking 6. Like because it's like an okay game, I won't even put it all the way down, but it's just like, why waste your time? If you're looking to play Resident Evil, you're looking to play stuff like this, the rest of the shit, or even up here, B and up, because it's like, if you want this, just play this. Just play Resident Evil 2 if you want 3. But if you want it all, obviously play it. Right? I'm rambling now. Village. I love this game. before it came out, I said, as much as like I know 4 is a great game, it's not exactly my top jam. So I was like, I just want this to be better Resident Evil 4. And for me, it is. Now, we're going to get the remake next year in 2023. That will literally be a better 4. Finally. It literally will be. But this is Resident Evil 4, sure. The village and the areas of the game of like this is Metroid style. Like this feels like Metroid. Like Super Metroid, like the different zones with their boss, each with the different boss, like the sub boss, Mother Brain's fucking lieutenants, Miranda's fucking lieutenants in their different zones, and each of the zones have their own flavor, their own play style. You have the castle, which is like the mansion or the police station of Resident Evil Old. Then you have like the Puppet Master house, which is basically no action, no shooting, more psychological fucking with you. Then you have a little bit of a puzzly area for the fish dude, and then a big boss fight. And then you have a big dungeon factory for, the, what's his name? Heisenberg, Walter White, whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah, and the merchant and the briefcase with the items and the upgrading the stuff. Like, this is a survival horror game. This is an adventure game. A little bit more action. Like this more than 4. This is the sweet spot. This is the sweet spot between survival horror, action, adventure game, Metroid style, horror shit, werewolves, all like this is a fucking awesome game. I love this game. Where's it gonna go? Right here. Right here. And there you have it. No side jams. Main jams only. This is how I see it. Nothing is bad. Nothing is a complete failure. Nothing is a facere brute. Right here. There you have it. Anybody that watches this and listens to my dumb shit, I fucking love you. Ciao Bella, Chindan Salud, take it easy, and remember, I got fucking kids.